Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Cuz You Don't Know Football. We got another one. Today we're gonna be to ourselves today. It's gonna be real intimate. You see how I brought down the octaves? It's gonna be real intimate. You see, we don't get that. We don't get that every day. Um, but we're gonna do our thing. Don't worry about it. We're gonna do our thing. And it's gonna be a great show. So, of course, we're talking about week 4. Um, we're gonna talk about week 4 games, some topics that I think are should be talked about, and then we're gonna get our game 5 picks. All right. So let's get into the first game that I wanted to see. The Saints actually lost to the Atlanta Falcons 26-24. Now, basically, what I wanted to talk about in terms of this game, excuse me, y'all. What I wanted to talk about in terms of this game is is the NFC South, is the NFC South back? Like the NFC South through the first month of the season has looked like they could put not just one, not two, but 3 legitimate teams into the playoffs, and we don't know I think it's hard for us to see what the teams really are. You know, the Saints, the Falcons, and the Bucks. They've all overachieved, and I really want to see how they decide or not decide, or what shakes with it, or what team goes in what direction. But right now, this is the NFC South looks like an amazing. It's gonna be an amazing year, and it's gonna be a pleasure watching these teams play each other. I'm really excited about what's going to happen with them. So let's see, is there anything that I could take from this game? Um, Derek Carr and Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins look like the same damn quarterback. Listen to these stats. Kirk Cousins was 21 and 35 for 238 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Derek Carr was 28 for 36, 239 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 pick. So they look like the same quarterback. I don't know what to expect from them, but it'd be very interesting to see what happens next with them. So I don't have much to say yet about this game or the NFC South, but I'm very interested to see where things go with that. Um Also, I do want to just this wasn't on the docket for teams, but I do want to shout out the Minnesota Vikings. Listen, y'all, the Minnesota Vikings might be the second best team in football. And if we're having a real honest conversation, they've played like the best team in football. They've beaten the 49ers, they've beaten the Texans, and they've beaten the Packers. If you put any other team there, you would say they were the best. The only reason why I'm not saying that is because I don't. This is like I have to figure this out. You got to give me a couple weeks with the Vikings. I got to figure this out. All right. Um. Yeah. Sam Darnold 275 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Aaron Jones 22 carries, 93 yards. Justin Jefferson 85 yards, a touchdown. Jordan Addison 72 yards, a touchdown. Um. Josh Oliver, he got a touchdown. They doing stuff. I mean, Byron Murphy got a pick. Um, who's this? Shaquille Griffin got a pick. Camus Grier, he got a pick. I mean, what is good? Like, you know what I mean? Like the Minnesota Vikings. Round of applause for the Minnesota Vikings because what they have shown with less talent, you have to always give it up for teams that you could tell have less talent and they're overachieving and they're beating the teams that you're like that these teams are far more talented than. You can act like you're not seeing what you're seeing from the Minnesota Vikings, but listen, as right now, they're the best team in their division, they're the best team in the NFC, and they're the best team possibly in the NFL. And it sounds crazy. I get it. But you might have to live with that. Okay, cool. So let's move on to the next game. This is why I like when it's just us, because we get to I don't have to say all the stats for everything. We could talk more storylines, Very happy about that. We could talk way more storylines. So the next game that we were talking about was the Minnesota Vikings. We see now they on my mind. See, it's infectious. The Pittsburgh Steelers losing to my Indianapolis Colts. You know, they lost. They came into Indy and they caught that L. You know, for a minute, it actually looked like we were going to lose. For a minute, it looked like we was going to lose. We were up 17-0, and and things were looking great. And then Anthony Richardson gets hurt. Uh, and then um, and then excuse me, I'm forgetting names. Don't worry, I'm gonna say that part again. Jonathan Taylor. Okay, so we were up 17-0, and then Anthony Richardson gets hurt, and then Jonathan Taylor gets hurt, and then things start to swing in the other way. I will say this: this is why you have a backup, because Joe Flacco. I know what I have said about you in the past, but thank you for doing exactly what it is that you do, and that's great. You saved us. But I do feel as though I want to say this about Anthony Richardson. I'm not hypercritical of Anthony Richardson, but people have come on here saying how great Anthony Richardson is, how not just how great he is, but how you know if we got one, and everything. And I've always said, all right, let me back up. When Anthony Richardson came out in the draft, he was the most physically gifted quarterback in the draft. I'm not a person that wants the most physically gifted quarterback in the draft. And I say that because when someone is the most physically gifted, more times than not, they're more dependent on their physical gifts instead of how well of a quarterback and a passer they actually are. And this is a prime example. It's not all his fault, because I do think coaching has a lot to do with this. Shane Steichen is developing a offense and a play call style that basically is saying, Anthony Richardson, I need you to save us. That's wrong on a couple fronts. One, you don't look at your rookie quarterback and you say, save me. A rookie quarterback does not have the ability to save you. Okay? let's get there. Your rookie quarterback cannot save you. Okay? Not only that, the best player on the Indianapolis Colts is Jonathan Taylor. Our play call style should be Jonathan Taylor dependent. So if it's not Jonathan Taylor dependent, then you're relying on your rookie quarterback to bail out the best player on your team, as opposed to the best player on your team bailing out your quarterback. And I don't understand why no one gets this. Stop calling plays that asked for your rookie quarterback to save you. And look at it, he's hurt again. He's hurt again. He's played 7 games in the NFL and he's been hurt in 4. How about that for a percentage? Look at that. So at some point, you got to get past who you answer to or who you got to give an answer. Like, if you really can't deliver the answer, Anthony Richardson, we're going to hand the ball off more, and we're going to do that right now. Then the best thing that's ever happened to you is Joe Flacco starting. I want Anthony Richardson to develop. I just know if you want your young quarterback to win for you now, you have to help him out, not look at him as he's going to save us right now. Joe Flacco, you ain't looking at like that. So we're going to develop a lot of things. So that's all I got to say about that. The Buccaneers belt the ass to the Eagles. I will say, because I don't have much to say about this yet. It's very clear that Sirianni and Jalen Hurts don't get along. And it's very clear that Jalen Hurts don't respect Nick Sirianni as a head coach. And I think as a quarterback and head coach relationship goes, both have to have respect for each other in terms of what they can do. And if either one of them doesn't, then the whole relationship doesn't work. And I'll leave that there. Inversely, the Commanders did belt the ass to the Arizona Cardinals. And I'm a fan. I've been telling people the Arizona Cardinals are like their team that I'm not saying they're making the playoffs, but they're a team that are good. That's good. Uh, and Jaden Daniels, boy, Jaden Daniels. All right, I'll talk. I'll talk more about them later. But Jaden Daniels, I don't quite know what you're going to do about this. This is, and inversely, I think Jaden Daniels looks this good, and I don't think that the Commanders are looking at him to save them. And I think he's been a very big part, and he's overachieving. He's exceeding what you could have expected from him. I don't think that the game plan when I watch them is Jaden Daniels save us. And inversely, he can play freer because all you're asking him to do is not make mistakes. And he's actually exceptional. So man, this Jaden Daniels, man, I keep telling you about him. Okay. So then we got the Chiefs and the Chargers. So it's funny. I really thought that the Chiefs were actually going to lose this game. They actually won 17-10. I think the Chargers came back to earth a little bit, and I even got a little excited. See, it's not just me, because when I look at the Chargers, as soon as I start to say, okay, they turned this corner, that's when I start betting. Remember all the stories that I told y'all? That's when I start betting on them, and I start losing money because they're the Chargers. I think two things. I think two things are true. I think the Chargers are not who we thought they were, and I also think the Chiefs are who we think they are. The resilience that the Chiefs have, losing Rashee Rice in this game too, their number one option. They've never had Hollywood Brown yet. I don't even know if he's coming back this year. I really don't have that answer. But losing Rashee Rice maybe for the year, the fact that they could still win games after winning 2 Super Bowls back to back, and you still want to rub on everybody like. But I do think they need another receiver. Because now you're looking at a situation where it's Juju Smith-Schuster again. This is your number one option, and a rookie Xavier Worthy, and that actually might be a little worse than Super Bowl they won when I said they had the worst receiver core of all time that won a Super Bowl. So this can bring them down. I do think they need another receiver to bring in. And if they do, I think they should be good. Let's see. Patrick Mahomes was 19-29 for 245 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And that's the thing. Like, Patrick Mahomes hasn't even played good per se. He hasn't played bad. He's played, like, let me phrase that. He's played good. He ain't played excellent. And they still are undefeated. Patrick Mahomes ain't played. That's what I'm saying about the resilience. Patrick Mahomes, I think, can play better. Travis Kelce doesn't even have a touchdown this year yet. So we'll see. We'll see. The Ravens put belt to ass to the Buffalo Bills. This I'll go into stats because it's proving a point. Josh Allen was 16-29, 180 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. And James Cook was 9 carries for 39 yards. They really didn't do much. Khalil Shakir, he was 4 receptions for 62 yards. And on the Ravens side, Lamar Jackson, he was 13-18 for 156 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Derrick Henry was 24 carries, 199 yards, and a touchdown. Lamar Jackson had 54 yards rushing and a touchdown. Justice Hill led them in receiving with 6 receptions for 78 yards and 1 touchdown. Yeah, yeah. So for me, the Baltimore Ravens, I am very impressed with their rebound from what they did in the beginning of the season. This is a Lamar Jackson game. He's never been a guy who lights you up. 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, efficient, no turnovers, another 50 on the ground, and another touchdown. Like 3 touchdowns, 200 yards. That's Lamar Jackson. That's a Lamar Jackson game, and I think they're very scary when you do that. So all right, so now I'm ready to say I'm putting them back in the playoff because they made adjustments that I thought that they needed to make. So my thought was they just had a lot of pieces that needed to be good all at the same time. And the one thing that I thought could help them that I didn't see if it was going to work was around Derrick Henry, actually. Him being a downhill runner I formation 12 personnel kind of guy, downhill, get momentum, boom. That usually does not translate well when you are a team majority, the majority of your snaps are in shotgun. The best example of what I'm trying to say right now is if you remember DeMarco Murray when he played for the Dallas Cowboys and he was able to get downhill 1,800 yards, makes his quarterback look amazing, and it made life easy. He gets to Philly, gets paid all this money, and they put him in a shotgun, and he's never been able to run in that play style, and it never worked out again. So Derrick Henry, they basically shifted, and you can see it. There's more Lamar Jackson under center. There's more pistol formations. They do stuff, but I like how they mixed it up, and it's very clear that they'll be able to mix that up and give Derrick Henry some things that he needs, give Lamar Jackson some things that he needs, and it doesn't look like it's affecting Lamar Jackson at all. You know what I mean? So they're going to be in the playoffs. Okay, and I'm putting that in there. Czar, if you're watching this, I'm putting the Ravens back in the playoffs. Okay. And finally, I put the Detroit Lions. They beat the Seattle Seahawks 42-29. This was Seattle's first loss of the season. I don't think this was, if you're Seattle, I don't think this is a bad loss, if it makes sense. I don't think this is exposing them. You played so high that I actually just want to see how you rebound from it. I want to see how you respond, and I want to see what you do next. Because if you are the team that started 3-0, you'll rebound. If you were just playing over your head and teams just hadn't gotten the opportunity to really see you and beat you, then it's going to be hard for you, and that's what it is. But for the Detroit Lions, being at home, winning 42-29, this is what good teams do. Like, I really do think the Detroit Lions are this good. Listen, Geno Smith, I mean, they got beat pretty bad. Geno Smith was still had 395 yards passing, 1 touchdown and 1 pick. Kenneth Walker still had 80 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. DK Metcalf still had 104 yards receiving. You know what I mean? This is what for it to get beat like that, this shows you how good the Detroit Lions actually are. You know what I mean? Jared Goff was 18 of 18 for 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. God damn. God, I didn't even realize that he didn't miss a pass. He didn't even miss a pass. Jeez Louise. And he caught a touchdown pass from Amon St. Brown, too. Jahmyr Gibbs had 78 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns. David Montgomery also had 1 touchdown. Jameson Williams, he had 2 receptions, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Amon also had a receiving touchdown as well. And Kirby Joseph had the pick that they had. I've always said about the Detroit Lions the whole year, the one thing that I looked at them and I said that I felt that they should have gotten this offseason was a pass rusher. That was it. If they had got another pass rusher, I look at them and I say, "Whoo!" Like it would have covered up so much. So I would have loved to have seen them get another pass rusher. But I mean, well, let's look at how many sacks that they got. They had 1.5 sacks, 2.5 sacks. So they had 2.5 sacks, but you just hope that this can pick up, you know? You just hope that this can pick up. But that's the only bad thing I can say about Detroit right now. You win some games, you lose some games. I know they got 1 loss. But this is what they can look like against a good team. This is what the Detroit Lions can look like against a good team. So there's that. Okay, so that's week 4. That was week 4. Okay. So let's get to some storylines. So the NFC South. Is the NFC South going to put 3 teams in the playoffs? So right now, so they got 1 in there, right? So right now, you have the NFC North, which is Detroit, No, right now it's Minnesota. So you got there Minnesota, and then you have the NFC East. Right now, it look like Washington, and we're going to talk about that. The NFC South, NFC North, NFC West. The NFC West still looks like the 49ers. Um, then of course you got the Detroit Lions, and pretty much every other team in the NFC has a question mark, a major question mark about who they are, their identity, their record. Yeah, like I mean, listen, I'm very interested to see where that goes. And speaking of Washington, yo, give it up for Jaden Daniels, boy. Jaden Daniels is playing out of his mind. He's playing so good, I really don't think he can sustain it. Now, the reason why I thought because in the regular season, in the off season, when I was talking to Jamal on here, sounding all smart and stuff, I said, listen, if the Eagles and the Cowboys start losing more, then I could see Washington and I could see Jane Daniels have a RG3 type season. Dallas and Philly looks like they're losing a lot of games. And Washington, if they can get to that 9-win mark and Dallas and Philly starts losing more, yeah, absolutely. 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 This looks exactly like the scenario that Washington could win in. The exact scenario. So also in the AFC, so now that I just did that, um in the AFC, the Texans got the South. In the AFC North, I think Baltimore comes back and gets that. In the AFC East, Buffalo got that. AFC West, the Chiefs got that. And then is Pittsburgh going to finish up? Is Pittsburgh going to finish up doing exactly what they're doing? Are the Colts? What are the Colts going to do? You know, um, the Chargers now still look like a team that could legitimately be in there, but like I think the door is a lot more wide open than we anticipated. You know, so that's that. Okay, that's the storylines that I wanted to talk about. You know, surprise, surprise for these teams. You know, so week 5 games that we're gonna talk about and definitely keep an eye on, and then we're gonna get up out of here. So Bucks Falcons. So I would have loved for one of these teams to have lost so I could say the other team was going to win just because, hey, anxious, needing the victory, things of that nature. But this game is going to be in Atlanta. So, Bucks versus Falcons, I'm going with Atlanta to win this game. Bills versus Texans. Interesting game. Interesting game because the Texans definitely did they lose? They lost this week, right? Texans won. They won. Okay. So they won narrowly. So yeah, let's see where this game is. Let's see where this game is. It's in Houston. Ooh, do I think Buffalo loses back to back weeks? I do not. I think Buffalo's going into Houston and they going to take this game. I do. I do. I think they're very physical. I think Buffalo is very physical. Um, and their physicality translates. Their ability to run the ball translates. If they're not so well, they're going to be Josh Allen dependent, but like if they can run the ball more, take some heat off of them, yeah, I think this defense is good enough to make it difficult enough for the Texans. And yeah, and they're a team that's done it, been there, done that more. They would know how to win it in this situation more. Yeah, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills in that game. So the Cardinals against the 49ers, which is ironically a game. But I'm trying to think of a reason why I think the um the Cardinals could win. Nope. I think this is a back-to-back lose kind of week or a situation for the Cardinals. I'm going with the 49ers to take this one as well. The Cowboys versus the Steelers. Um, I think it would be hilarious if Dallas loses to the Steelers. I think that would be the funniest thing. But I do think Dallas is going to win this game. I think Dallas is going to win this game. Let me see where it is. Um, I'm ready to laugh already at Dallas losing to the Steelers. Um, it's in Pittsburgh. I think I'm sticking with that pick. I think Dallas is going to win that game. Um, yeah, and the Chiefs Saints. Chiefs Saints. I'm picking the Saints this time. I'm picking the Saints to beat the Chiefs. This is the Chiefs got. They have a lot they got to figure out. Even in man, their wide receiver core is so thin, and I really like and I love matchups with. I like the matchup the Saints have when they have Marshawn Lattimore, and he's going to be defending somebody who we know it don't matter who it is, he's going to be able to take them away, no problem. And they can cover. Yeah, I'm going with the Saints. I'm riding with the Saints on this one. It's going to have to be a crazy game plan. They just lost. They're hungry still. I'm going with the Saints on this one. So in terms of the games of the week, who did I pick? I picked the Falcons at home. I picked the Bills on the road. I picked the 49ers. I picked the Cowboys on the road, and I picked the Saints on the road. So a lot of road games that I'm thinking is going to happen. So all right, y'all, that was the episode. You know what I mean? It's always great having y'all, man. I love having y'all here. Love having y'all here. Um, yeah, man, check us out. Check us out on full episodes on Instagram. Full episodes are not on Instagram. Ignore that. Get rid of that. Full episodes on YouTube and Spotify. The reels on Instagram, YouTube. I'm all over the place. The reels are on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And check out the new Cause You Don't Know Football Facebook chat group. Listen, we're all over the place, guys. We're all over the place. This is why we're getting all this extra football knowledge and we're putting it all together. Y'all are behind. Y'all got to keep up with us or y'all going to stay behind. And guys, I'm sorry to say it because I love y'all. And y'all are a big reason that I live the life that I live. And guys, you still don't know football. I'm your boy Reek. Like Martin said, I'm going to see you when I see you. Peace.